What's up, internet world? I'm Leroy. That's Michael. We are the We Try channel, our Nerdy by Nature Productions, and we're here. Is this how many weeks is this in a row? This is make for us.
I
We
mean,
had a
we've been consistent. We had an issue last week where I couldn't get into our account, so
oh yeah, that was my
we
fault.
didn't post.
Yeah,
But I mean, technically, if we had posted, we would be. I don't know. It's been a good 6 or 7 weeks of doing something consistently.
hey, look at us. You
Yeah,
know, with the world ending, we're here for you
yeah.
with
We finally got our act together.
with some stuff to talk about to take your mind off of World War III and gas going to $5 a gallon and diesel being $7 a gallon. But this isn't doom and gloom. This is actually an interesting topic that I thought up, pulled out of the crack of my patootie. Invincible.
Tootie, or is that something you got the kids saying?
No, I'm trying to cut back on cursing in the first minute or two of this video. And
Okay.
how's it going?
I mean, okay, so far, I guess.
Yeah, it's only a minute 10 seconds in though.
Yeah.
Let's see how long this lasts.
Mhm.
So Invincibles kicked off their new season. And Robert Kirkman is in the news. Well, he's been talking lately, anticipation of the season, as doing the rounds. And one of the things he said was, since the Invincible comic ended, he wants to take the show. The show should last about 7 or 8 seasons. It might be 9, but it's right around that. He knows when the show should end through the Viltrumite War. And he also dropped a tidbit. He said, if the audience, he was talking to Collider, and he basically, to sum it up, said he could see the show and the Invincible universe going on forever. Or at least the Invincible show going on for as long as the fans wanted it. And I kicked this idea to you that should shows end? And what are some shows that are still going on? Fan base is still strong, and the story still works. And are shows at a detriment when they keep going past a certain point where they no longer service the story? And I thought that was interesting because here's The Walking Dead was still being written, as the show was going on. And then we had subsequently different, spin-off shows on The Walking Dead. Negan and Glenn's wife were in another show called Dead City. The guy who's a brand new character, what is his name? I'm drawing a blank right now. Going to France.
You talking about Daryl?
Daryl, thank you. So you have this idea of Kirkman having these shows based on comics, and it's like, do you think Invincible should keep going on? And what's your take on that?
I don't think any show should keep going on.
Well, tell Fox that, because you brought up The Simpsons.
Yeah, those are not mutually exclusive thoughts.
I'm just saying, I feel you. I agree with you.
I think there is a beauty in a show that has a finite ending,
Mhm.
and an ending that the auteur knows what they want to do, because they have a set blueprint of, okay, we're going to do this, and this, and we hit stuff. I can think of a few examples of The Good Place. We talk about it all the time.
Ooh,
it was 4 seasons.
That's exactly where I was going.
And I think it ended beautifully. I've said it before. I cried at the series finale of that show. It really got me. I thought it was great. I think they probably could have done more seasons, but I don't know if they would have been as good. But the fact that we got 4 and they had an ending all along, or at least it seemed like that ending planned out, was great. You look at something like prestige television, like Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul.
Mm-hmm.
Vince Gilligan had endings in mind, and those shows are regarded as some of the best.
Yep.
If you look at a show and it's not the same because it's not scripted, but like SNL, people, I mean, for it seems like SNL probably won't end, however much money it makes. And I'm not saying it needs to, but there's always the argument that, older seasons were better than newer seasons.
Well,
Um,
to
yeah,
counterpoint to that, part of the problem with that, and I've had this discussion with various people, where they're like, SNL sucks now. I think two things happen to reinforce that idea. Older seasons are better based on when you came to SNL as a young adult. So,
sure.
like, that brand of humor that was on was your age group. I would really like to hear from not millennials. I don't know what age group is writing SNL, but I would like to know from the group that is writing SNL that it's meant for, that audience, do they find it as funny
Hmm.
as it still goes on? Because that's my biggest problem with people who say that about SNL. When Will Ferrell and all of them were writing and doing all that stuff, we were that age. We were we were at the same age as they were, and so same thing with my in-laws. They were coming of age when SNL first came on. So, that, sorry, belabor the point. Mm.
No, no, I was just saying, and I personally like SNL. I'm just giving it an example as that is a criticism of people. Oh, the newer seasons are not as good as the older seasons. I
Yeah.
think you can find gems in every season.
Mhm.
Um,
Weekend update.
yeah, Weekend Update's fantastic. Che and Colin are great.
Yeah, I think I think they do a very good job.
Yeah.
Um,
Um,
oh wait, got to make sure y'all can see baseball season. My
okay.
team sucks, but I still
Okay.
rep it.
Yeah. Um, yeah, we mentioned The Simpsons. I haven't seen The Simpsons in forever, so I'm not going to be on the hating train of saying the older seasons are better than newer. I mean, they kind of are, but even the newer seasons, I can still find a chuckle out of The Simpsons. But I mean, it's again of at some point it kind of gets diminishing returns. So I feel like there's a beauty in having something that is not necessarily a short number of seasons, but a number of seasons you know that you want, and before it
Also,
gets bad.
also, how can you keep the bit going? And it's something that,
I want to add to that once you have your thought, but yeah,
well, it's again, I like watching Bomani Jones on the right time. He says he did a podcast with some nerds where he really got into the nitty gritty. He's like, you get to a point when you're doing this, no matter if you're what content space or whatever you're creating, you're no longer growing new audience. You've reached the max of who you're going to get, and you get to a point where you just got to retain the audience you got. And so a lot of these shows, like you bring up The Simpsons, I watched it, I came in and out, but Simpsons was never my show. But at one point in time, The Simpsons was a lot of people's show. Conan O'Brien used to write for that show. And like with everything, change happens, you grow out of something. My question is, yes, the numbers probably justifies that show still being on,
sure.
but I would like to know how much of an audience does that show still have compared to when when it first came on and it was hot, it was new. And now everybody is doing some version of that show, whether it's um, McFarlane with Family Guy and American Dad, or whether it's uh, South Park. And I'm hell. The South Park didn't South Park have an episode where it was like that? Simpsons did it, or was that
Yeah,
Family Guy? I
so,
can't
some,
remember.
one of them did it.
Yeah, but it's like after a while, does the joke still work? And it's funny you bring up those shows because Always Sunny in Philadelphia, how long can they keep doing it?
Yeah.
But go ahead.
Well, no, I'm looking at uh let's see if I can see if it
Because my thing is, there's some shows, I think it also depends on the nature of the show. So like, I joke with you, and this is not my joke. I've heard this before. I did watch pretty much 20 seasons of Grey's Anatomy when my wife was pregnant.
that's
Like
the show I'm about to bring up.
we burned through that. Like we watched a season a week when she was pregnant, and this was like during the pandemic. I saw online somebody called oh, excuse me, Grey's Anatomy, White Woman, One Piece, because it's just like, what
I
are they?
wasn't ready for that, but that's pretty good.
I texted you that. Did you not see it? Like seriously, they
One
called.
Woman, One Piece. No, you didn't.
Yep.
You didn't test me. You didn't test me that. Text
Yeah, I
me.
did. Check.
When recently?
Yep. About this topic, because when Kirkman said this thing, all of this came together. I was like,
Oh, you know what? I read that as.
uh-huh.
I glanced at it. I read it as two separate things. I thought you were saying One Piece and then Grey's Anatomy, because One Piece is
No.
still going.
But that's my point.
Right, that's what
So,
I'm saying. So I thought they were two different shows. I didn't realize you
Nah.
were talking about that. Yeah, okay.
Nah, White
That's
Woman's One Piece is Grey's Anatomy or Law and Order SVU.
good. Yeah,
And so I think the nature of that show still works if you have some of the key, but the original cast is gone, killed off, left. And same thing with Law and Order SVU. You only have Benson. Stabler has his own show. Kragen is gone. Belzer's dead. The Black
Ice-T's
Woman,
still there, right?
Ice-T was not part of the original cast.
Oh, okay.
Ice-T came on subsequent season later when the Black woman who was in Picard, I cannot remember her name. Remember, she left because
No, I don't remember. I didn't watch that show.
oh, so son, I used to watch Law and Order SVU religiously.
I know.
And the joke is, and I hate saying this, but this is true. Law and Order SVU has been around so long, you'll put that shit on in the background and you'll just be doing laundry to rape. It's like sexual assault, like it's just become part of the norm. Like it's
Yeah.
background noise. It's been on so long. And I think, and here's the other thing. The original Law and Order stopped for a while and then came back.
Yeah.
So I don't think Invincible should go past what they wrote. I honestly don't. I'm with you. I think shows should have a finite ending, but I'm not gonna lie. If a Law and Order episode comes on, when some of the old school ones, I'll go back and watch it.
So, what's your take on shows getting rebooted? Do you feel like that puts a new lease on it? Because
Yeah.
when I bring that up, because are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay.
Yeah.
I bring that up because I'm thinking of like Doctor Who now.
Mm-hmm.
It went for a while, went away, and then it came back in, I don't know, 2008 maybe with Christopher Eccleston. It's gone away again. They hope to bring it back. I'm sure they hope to bring it back, but it's gone away after I can't think of the black actor's name.
And Cootie, it's
I do
NC.
something like that, but I don't know how to pronounce it.
Yeah, I've you know I'm bad with names, so
Yeah.
um
But I
yeah,
say all that. Yeah, I say all that too. And the big thing I think about is the thing that I've really gotten into in the past 2.5 years, 3 years, professional wrestling. I mean, that is essentially a scripted show that's been going for decades at this point.
it's masculine soap opera.
Yeah, I mean, depending on which promotion you're watching, but
It's General Hospital for dudes.
you could argue. I mean, the big argument now is the storylines seem to be stale because they're kind of repeating themselves over and over again. I mean, I think
And
it should end. I don't know, but it's just something to think about.
here's the other part of it. So like we'll get back to wrestling because I think wrestling is a different animal. I like when shows end, but I also think a reboot depends on the show and why it got popular. So a perfect example is my wife loves The Pit. I can't do blood and guts like that because
That's
it's real.
so weird because you like a bloody movie.
I do, but see, here's the thing: The Pit is real.
It is.
The other stuff, it's like people who like horror.
I
Like
just saw them drill into somebody's head this morning. I was like, oh my
Son,
god,
I couldn't. Nope.
this is crazy.
See, you know what's funny? I was just thinking about she would love this if we could watch this show together. And then you said that shit, and I'm like, I'm out. Oh,
Yeah.
almost made it 15 minutes. But for real, like The Pit is real, so I can't do that. but like, like I just watched 28 years later, Bone Temple, and there was parts I was like, ugh,
Mhm.
ugh, but I got through it because I wanted to see it. Um, but let's talk about reboots. So Frasier was a show that was on. I watched it because I was a real big Cheers guy. Um, that was a show that made me a Red Sox fan. Sam Malone. I used to watch that with my dad when I wasn't supposed to as a kid. And then when Frasier left and went to Seattle, went home, I watched that. And then I fell off of the show. And then it came back. And it came back because a lot of people watched the original on streaming services. The
Mhm.
whole library was on Netflix or whatever streaming service it was on. And different people binged it, really got a big following on social media. And they were like, hey, let's bring back Frasier. And it lasted a season. And it was like, nope, really, like, it was lightning in a bottle when it happened. People ain't feeling this show. One of the things I would say, that's a reboot that didn't work. I'm interested to see how Scrubs does because I like the original Scrubs.
Yeah.
I started watching it. You told me it was back, and I'd forgotten about it. And I was like up late one night. I couldn't sleep, and I popped it in. And I'm not gonna lie, I almost got choked up because I was like, I got all the feels again.
It feels like a nice hug.
It does, but it also, the characters are grown,
Mhm.
and so I've grown, and I know some of those struggles that they go through. So it's a continuation of the same story, but there's a lull, there's a break, and also none of the people on the show tweeted anything like Kanye. So everybody was able to come back and you were able to bring new people. Yeah, I mean, that's part of it. Nobody ended up being, you know,
If anybody is wild, they kept it to themselves.
yeah, like they were online, telling us about their wild beliefs. And so you were able to bring the cast back. Faison, was it Faison Love? Or was it Faison Love?
Donald Faison. Faison Love is the heavyset
Comedian.
black comedian.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
That Cat Williams said can't read. I didn't say it. Don't come at me. Cat said that. But no, and Zach Braff, people like that relationship. They were able to take that relationship and get T-Mobile commercials out of it.
Yeah.
So that's one way you saw a reboot that worked. Now, if
Mhm.
you take a Battlestar Galactica, where the original show came out in the 70s, it had different reboots and restarts, and then it came back for 5 seasons on Sci-Fi.
Something like that.
And I think all in all, the show worked. I also think part of the reason why the show worked was there was no internet. Like, not to the vitriol we have now with social media, where you're able to attack stars and you had people were able to watch the show, enjoy it. We didn't have the social media that we had back then.
Mhm.
So the final season wasn't like a train wreck, even though there are people who probably didn't like it. It was very weird. But let's take a show that everybody loved until that final season, but people took issues with it, and you already know where I'm going.
No, where are you going?
Game of Thrones.
Oh, okay, sure, yeah.
And so they're talking about bringing back, restarting Battlestar Galactica. So I think it just depends on how you reboot it, and do you have that magic that made the show enjoyable to begin with. I think there are some shows you'll never be able to reboot. I don't think we'll ever see in my lifetime the hold that NBC had.
Oh yeah,
With
the must see TV.
the
Yeah.
must see Thursday night television. I don't think you'll ever get that back with like Seinfeld.
There's too many options now.
And two, I don't think we'll ever be able to have a show like Seinfeld again. Because I think Seinfeld was one of those, the first one of its kind. I think we'll get something new, but I don't think we'll ever get a show that's just about nothing and these people just living their lives. Don't get me wrong, they're terrible people, Always Sunny in Philadelphia, but I don't think we'll ever get a show like that. So I don't see that ever being rebooted.
I'm sure they're trying to figure out how they can bring back Seinfeld. Somebody's talking about it.
Well, I mean, they did. Curb Your Enthusiasm.
Yeah, but I meant like bringing Seinfeld back.
Oh.
Are we good? Are we good with Kramer now? Kramer's fine, right?
Nah,
You forgiving Kramer?
I haven't. Have you? Did you get the memo? I don't remember getting an email about it.
No.
Did the black delegation, something happen?
Yeah, I mean, the world forgave Mike Tyson. He committed it. He went to jail.
Here's the other part of it. Here's the other part of it. What did you just say?
He went to jail?
There you go. That's a big part of one. He went to jail. He went to prison during a time when we kind of cared about women. I'm not trying to be funny. We kind of.
I get what you're saying.
So, and again, he was prosecuted. He came back out. He did the things.
He did the time after doing the crime.
And so there's a difference. There's attrition there. So for Kramer, I don't know. Does he need to go to prison? I don't know. That's not for me to say. I don't own any networks yet. But I don't see them doing or restarting rebooting a Seinfeld in our lifetime. Not when you still have the original cast alive and still doing other things, being able to speak out about it too. That's another thing. If your original cast isn't on board, you're DOA before you even get a showrunner and a script.
Sure.
So let me ask you this, and here's another thing too. Could you see a show that was on terrestrial television come back and have the same hold it did through a streaming service, let's say like a Lost?
I don't know. I think there's always a curiosity for people to see that first episode of something. I don't know whether or not they can hold them. Like if somebody said they're rebooting Lost, I think you get a big enough audience to see what it is.
Do you, based on how, and tell the people how you came to Lost, because I'll ask this question after you tell them how you watched Lost, because you watched it differently than how it came out.
I think I watched Lost the best way in that I didn't watch it until the last season. I'd never seen any episodes. The last season came out. And now I can't remember if I waited until the season finale, to the series finale, or just the last season. Either way, I watched all of it in succession, back to back, watching all the episodes like that without having the build up of watching it weekly for the 4 or 5 seasons it was on before that.
Okay.
So I didn't have I wasn't as upset as other people were with the series finale because I hadn't spent 4 or 5 years watching it, feeling like I got nothing out of it.
Not only that, 4 or 5 seasons watching it once a week.
Yeah.
You got to watch it at your leisure.
I will say, now that we talk about that, I did kind of experience that with How I Met Your Mother, because that is a show I did watch as it came on once a week. And when that series finale came out, I was kind of bummed about it.
Interesting. What's another show that you, excuse me, what's another show like that you watched that you were disappointed by the season finale? And I say that because How I Met Your Mother was so big, they tried to How I Met Your Father, and that did not work. It didn't.
Yeah, I think that went 2 seasons, but yeah,
it didn't have the spark or the charm. And I personally was out after the first season of How I Met Your Mother. I tried. because I thought the concept was very good. I liked the cast. Um, I thought Barney was I thought that was a very interesting character, but it lost its hold on me.
Hmm.
So give me another show
Um,
that ended and you were like, yeah, I feel you let me down.
hmm. Put me on the spot. I don't know. I can't think of anything. You got one?
I'm trying to think, is there one that kind of let me down? And I'm
I mean, I would probably say Game of Thrones, but I wasn't like indignant about it like I was for
yeah,
How I Met Your Mother. That one kind of upset me just because I felt like we kind of got nowhere. The reveal was like, I don't think this was worth it. With Game of Thrones, it was like, that sucks, but all right, I moved
I
on.
here's the thing. I wasn't in. I thought that the spoiler alert. I thought the two ep the I thought the night or the battle against the White Walkers and the Arya's taking out the Night King was a better conclusion than what we got of Daenerys marching on King's Landing. Now, I
Sure.
will say this: there are people going back and rewatching the entire show,
Hmm.
and I do agree with this because I didn't agree with everybody who was like there was no sign that Daenerys was going to turn like that, and I'm like, then you weren't watching the show. There were always signs she was right
Her,
there about to
her
turn.
family's crazy, isn't that the big thing?
The family's crazy, but also she was always on the precipice of burning down something. She was always on the precipice of using those dragons as napalm on some tiny village.
Hmm.
Like, so I don't agree with that, but I do understand what people were like. This didn't satisfy me, this conclusion. And I will apples to oranges to a certain extent, but story wise, this is why I think a lot of people do not like the last trilogy of Star Wars. One, you had three different people make the movie. There was no like outline and said this is the beginning, middle, and end. You fill in the blanks. There was none of that. Two, the biggest problem that people had, because it's the problem I have with the trilogy, we never got to see Han, Luke, Leia after the end of Return of the Jedi that we got in all that expanded universe stuff. We
Sure.
never got to see Luke be a Jedi. We
Yeah.
never got to see Leia be the leader of the New Republic. We never got to see all of that. And so we meet these people at the end of their lives or the end of their stories. And everybody was like, wait, that's not what we agreed to. And here's the
Mhm.
other part. We were sold a bill of goods because there's probably a video of me, Alyssa took it, where I screamed when that first trailer came out. And I said, and I
I
quote,
remember that. Yeah.
ninjas get to be Jedis.
Hmm.
I yelled that in the newsroom because John Boyega, we were sold in those early trailers that he was touched by the force. That and that's not what happened. And then we ended up getting this black guy just yelling Ray throughout three movies. And so I say that to say part of the problem with some of these stories continuing on is that they lose the storytelling and what drew people into that story. Um, and I think that's one of the biggest problems with the Star Wars universe is that you've brought up over and over again. We concentrate on this 60 years of the Skywalkers to the point where Disney even calls those 9 movies the Skywalker saga.
Hmm.
And we keep mining these little pockets of this 60 years instead of treading new territory. And even when we tread new territory, it's so different to some people that they immediately hate it instead of giving it a chance to see where it goes. And so that's kind of part of the problem with a lot of these things. You're damned if you end it too early. You're damned if you keep it going too long. And it's almost like that sweet spot. And Vince Gillian said this, you brought him up. I believe it was Vince Gillian who talked about the sweet spot is usually that 5-year mark, 5 seasons. And I think that works because we talk about Breaking Bad being one of the greatest shows of all time. The Wire was 5 seasons.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a lot of people consider that to be one of the greatest shows of all time. Because after a while, you get diminishing returns.
Yeah.
Did you like how the Cosby Show ended? Were you of age to enjoy that one?
I could not tell you the series finale of the Cosby Show. No clue how that show ended.
Like, I remember, and it's funny because we can't. Kamel Bell, WK, I forget what his name is. He's the one who did the documentary. We got to talk about Cosby, and he does a very good job of like breaking down what Cosby meant, the Cosby Show. That show ran a long time and then spun a different world. A Different World is coming back to Netflix, and they've got a lot of the original cast coming back. I remember when A Different World should have ended, and then it kept going. And
because it, like, maybe they were kind of ending it when they got married.
Yep.
But then they went like maybe 2 or 3 seasons after that. Kind of, yeah. Okay.
And to me, it almost should have been a different show. But they kept them in college because the ratings demanded that the show stay on.
Yeah.
And during that time, during television like that, you kept the show going until they pulled the plug. I think Friends went on too long. You got 10 seasons out of Friends. I think that went on too long. I think that's a season finale that it wasn't. Looking back at it now, I'm like, yeah, it's not that bad. But during the time, I was like, there were some high moments. But I didn't like the way Friends ended. So name a show.
I've only seen like 2 episodes of Friends.
Really?
Yeah, like wasn't for me.
I have watched Friends a lot more than I care to admit.
Well, it is what it is.
Um,
It's no shame.
There should be.
I mean, it was one of the most popular shows of all time. It makes sense. People would like it.
I really like that show, and I'm ashamed to admit how much I like it. It's easy background noise. I'll put it on if I'm reading a book or something. I love that show. Did you ever watch The X-Files?
Nope.
Are you interested in the reboot?
Vaguely. Because at the time, I don't really know that I was into sci-fi enough like that to really watch The X-Files. For some reason, I did watch the first movie. I don't know how that happened. I enjoyed the first movie.
Did you watch the second one?
No.
Watch the second one. The first one, it really is a continuation of the show, but the second one is more of a standalone. You don't have to know the show. You felt like that, didn't you? Like when you watched that movie, you were like, I'm not getting a lot of this.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's.
What was the spinoff show with the three like conspiracy theory guys?
So there were 2 shows.
Well, what was the one with the 3 conspiracy theory guys?
The Lone Gunman.
I did watch that show for some reason, the spinoff of that, and I was enjoying that.
And then there was Millennium.
Millennium was a spinoff of X-Files?
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know that.
Yep. So you know what? Before I say it was, let me look that shit up. But okay. I believe it was.
Okay.
Yeah, but I watched that one. I'm going to make sure that I'm right because I'm old. And Let me make sure. Yeah, I really love that show. Lance.
Was it Lance Hendrick?
Yep. Henriksen.
Hendrickson?
Yep. Mhm. Yeah, that's part of that universe.
Okay.
Um, see, I'm really interested to see how they bring this show back. I liked everybody that they got casted. Now, here's the thing. I am not sure I remember I don't honestly remember the end of the X Files.
Okay.
Like I know I've seen it, I don't remember it. Now, this brings me to one of the things that I think, because so let's go back to you talked about wrestling. I think wrestling works because wrestling is pretty much a soap opera
Yeah.
for men, predominantly.
Mhm.
There are women who watch it, there are women who enjoy it, but it's predominantly a male centered show. There's a lot of tropes that appeal to men. It's even though it's a bunch of men in their underwear, it does a it's geared toward men. I would say, and this is a weird thing, so go with me on this, see if it works. I think wrestling works the same way Star Trek works better as a TV show, rebooted, than it does as a movie series for the same things that makes wrestling interesting. The whole point of wrestling is the storyline. This
Mhm.
person versus this person. In Star Trek, the storyline is space exploration and what goes on in space and how does humanity deal with traveling through space. The people change, the ships change, the settings change, but if that core thing is still there, you got a show.
Mhm. Yeah.
Um, what's a show that you would love to see come back, but only rebooted, bring back the cast, keep it going for 2 or 3 seasons, just because you missed that feeling, kind of like with Scrubs. It's long enough, you could do some new things with it, but get that same feeling.
I wouldn't mind some Xena Warrior Princess.
Explain, go on.
I mean, get Lucy Lawless back doing some stuff. That was a
Really?
fun show. It was a fun campy show. I would be okay with that. And man, I can't think of the spinoff show.
Hercules?
No, because Hercules came first, and then it was Xena.
Young
There was
Hercules?
there was a spinoff of those shows. It was Bruce Campbell, and I can't remember what his name was. I want to say there was a spinoff of Xena and Word. Unless I made it up, but he was just a character I liked. Give me that show. That would have been fun. But yeah, I would say Xena.
Okay. Um, I I'm trying to think of what show I would like to see come back that I enjoyed, but I wanted to come back for a very like give me 8 episodes a season and prestige television. Um,
Oh, apparently I made that up.
I'm trying to think right now, and I can't think of anything. Oh, you know what? I know exactly what I would want.
What's
We
that?
talked about it. What?
Oh, I was going to say Autolycus.
There was a spinoff.
Bruce Campbell played the character
You
Autolycus.
said there was a spinoff. You made that up.
I made that up. I thought there was a spinoff show. I would have liked a spinoff show featuring Autolycus. I had to look that up. But he was a fun character on there, recurring character.
So you made up a show that you want to see. Well, speaking in the universe.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well,
The show,
a lot of my
the
shows
show
that
that
I like.
I want to come back It's 24.
It's done that several times.
Mike, you still there?
I'm here. Can you hear me?
You still there?
I'm here. Can you hear me? I
You
can
keep
hear you.
freezing, and I don't know if that's. I can hear you. I don't know if that's my computer or that's yours.
I don't know.
You
On
can't.
my end, your video looks kind of grainy.
Hold on.
Great. Leroy's internet's acting up, possibly.
Am I back?
No,
Am I back?
you're not back. It's going out. Let's
Interesting.
see the signal. I don't know. It's weird. We might have to do a part 2 of this because your clip is going out.
Okay.
All right, cool. Folks, we remember your thought, Leroy, because we'll come back with a part 2. Maybe we'll be live.
Yeah.
I will say this: we will not. So this is going up for the weekend of the 11th or something and 12th. We will not be live the week after because it's WrestleMania weekend next weekend,
Hey.
and I enjoy y'all, folks. Yeah, I can hear you. I don't know. But
can you see my statement?
Great. It's WrestleMania weekend next weekend, so I will not be here.
I'll take that as a no.
I'll be watching that for 2 seasons or 2 episodes back to back. Yeah, this is the We Trying channel, Nature by Nature Productions. You see the quality that we get. If you help us out in the comments, spread the love so we can get better equipment so we can give y'all a better show on a regular basis. Until then, we're out. Peace.